Hey everybody, in TGIF, it is Friday evening's edition of the Valley's most in-depth weather forecast video. It's weather for weather geeks. And wow, what a day to geek out to some wintry weather today. It was like a snow globe was shaking over the region at times today. We had some, kind of the best kind of snow showers in my view. The kind that are non-impactful, nothing really stuck today. It made for kind of a pretty scene at times, but it wasn't real pleasant to be outside with temperatures in the 30s, wind chills in the 20s. Before we get to today's wintry weather, it, of course, is for one final day today, Severe Weather Awareness Week in the state of Ohio all week on Weather for Weather Geeks on TV and on our social media outlets as well. We've been talking about all aspects of severe weather, safety tips, and some cool facts and figures as well. And I wanted to talk this evening about tornado climatology. In other words, when tornadoes are the most common by month. As we get into mid-spring, Dixie Alley is kind of where the highest tornado risk is. And what we mean by that is kind of the lower Mississippi Valley, Mississippi, Alabama, heading back towards the Red River Valley as well. Then as we get into May and kind of the last part of spring, the tornado risk shifts a little more into what we call traditional, kind of tornado alley, what you think of usually, Kansas, Oklahoma, parts of Nebraska, Iowa, where it's real flat out here. May is kind of prime time for those locations. Our severe weather risk, including our tornado risk, tends to peak in late May, June, and during the first half of July. Notice we get into kind of this greater risk as we get into the month of June and meteorological summer. Still, a pretty decent risk of occasional tornadic activity out in Tornado Alley as summer gets underway. As we get deeper into summer and we see fewer and fewer clashes of the air masses, and generally just a typical summer air mass covers a lot of the country, the severe weather risk tends to lower. But again, especially early in July, this is kind of when we are, more likely than other times of the year to see some storms that might have some rotation. And then, especially as we get into late summer, the severe weather risk does tend to take a downward turn in August as we get into what we call the dog days of August. All right, no severe weather, no tornadoes on the weather map this evening. It is just a blustery evening, and again, these have been kind of inconsequential as far as any accumulations go. There was a half an inch officially at the airport today. I'm sure there was never a half an inch on the ground at one time, but little drips and drabs of snow showers added up to about a half an inch there today. But just not a real pleasant day to be walking around outside. All right, I touched on this on social media earlier in case you missed it. You may have seen some buzz on TV and online and maybe especially on social media about maybe being able to see the northern lights over the next couple of nights. Pretty good geomagnetic storm leading to the northern lights coming a lot farther south than they usually do. Tonight and tomorrow night, it's most likely visible in areas to the north, no surprise, parts of Michigan up into the upper Midwest and into Canada. But as far south as the Ohio River, this is pretty far south, it is possible to see the northern lights, especially tomorrow night. Tonight, I think locally, there's just too many clouds around. And as I said on social media earlier, this is one of those things you got to really temper your expectations. It's rare when we have a chance to see the northern lights around here that it actually really materializes. It's pretty uncommon. And it's a little like a meteor shower in that you got to just temper your expectations. Go in with low expectations and maybe you'll be surprised. I think tomorrow night with a clear sky, we probably have a better chance of maybe seeing some light here in northern Ohio and western and northern Pennsylvania. If you are going to try to check out the northern lights, especially again tomorrow night, I wouldn't bother tonight. It's too cloudy. But tomorrow night, bundle up. It's going to be cold. Get away from the city lights, of course. Go to as dark a spot as you can find, kind of like when you're checking out a meteor shower. Focus low in the sky and on the northern horizon. So hopefully wherever you try to check this out, you have a nice view of the horizon and there's not a lot of trees and stuff in the way. And again, look low. It's not going to be real super high in the sky like we're in the Arctic Circle. If we see any light, it would be pretty low. And really can't give you a specific time on this other than when it's completely dark, a couple of hours after sunset into the overnight hours. And again, if you're going to try to check this out, I would do it tomorrow night rather than tonight. All right, so a few clouds around tomorrow morning, then it turns bright and sunny for your Saturday afternoon, and high pressure will give us a clear night tomorrow night. And then some clouds try to roll in on Sunday. These will be kind of the high cloud variety for a time, and then it will turn overcast by the end of the afternoon. But these won't produce any rain during the daylight hours on Sunday, and with a return flow around our high pressure zone, of course, clockwise flow around high pressure, in the northern hemisphere, we will get well into the 50s, I think, Sunday afternoon. unfortunately, Monday is not going to be as nice as Sunday. Monday could be kind of like today, actually. Although this is more of a morning deal rather than an all-day deal on Monday. But a cold rain for morning commuters Monday morning. I wouldn't be surprised if we had some wet snowflakes. Again, much like today, I wouldn't expect this to be consequential at all, and we'll probably try to see some sun before Monday is through. Next week features a pretty nice warming trend. A couple of chilly days to kick off the week. I've got 43 Monday, 41 Tuesday. By Tuesday, our average high is about 50, so that's pretty chilly. But beyond Tuesday, it looks beautiful outside. Wednesday and Thursday, the sun will be shining. By Thursday, we're in the 60s, and we'll probably be in the 60s right through the end of next week. So this is the 6 to 10 day period showing decent odds of above average temperatures. NOAA released their spring flood outlook, primarily focusing on river flooding here for the spring season, and not showing much of a risk here locally. We had a pretty wet fall and wet winter, of course, but the overall spring pattern should not be all that wet here locally. Not only have we had a lot of flooding problems out here recently, it's probably going to be a wet spring, wetter than average, out across the middle of the country, and that will lead to a pretty high risk of river flooding. Mississippi River, Missouri River, and even the Ohio River, the lower Ohio River, in southern Indiana, southern Illinois. A pretty decent chance of some flooding issues continuing as we get into springtime. You know, this has been a real disaster out here. No doubt you've seen the pictures in the video of a lot of the flooding problems in parts of Nebraska, Iowa, Missouri. Unfortunately for those places, a wet spring and a lot of snow yet to melt up across the northern plains and up into Canada. That snow is going to melt, and there's going to be a lot of water runoff, and that could be a big national weather story as we go into the spring season. Hope you have a great weekend, everyone. Thanks for watching Weather for Weather Geeks this week. It's been another action-packed week. I'll see you back here on Monday.